Unfortunately, we're gonna have to make another roll on this one. And I don't think I want to do that tonight. Maybe? I don't know. It's a bit tough. We've only been going for an hour and a half. You know, if I get a wrist brace or two on, we'll be okay. Because if I just brace up my arm, we can totally do that. And I think at this point, I'm gonna move away from gimmick runs, swap games for a while, then come back later. Nah, that's never good content anyway. This is the one that I usually use for this. Just give me a second. I'm gonna put on a better wrist brace, or well, my wrist brace combo. Yeah, let's do this, but let's do this fast. Let's load up on some real heavy hitter combos and actually try and beat this. Cause I can do this. I just need the oomph that I did not bring to that last run. Cause that last run, not a whole lot of oomph. Okay, connector 5 box. Okay, velocity, spread, pushback, tempting, but the burst reactors are better. I only have one of them? Okay, and then something basic to go with the barrels that has some range. I mean, honestly... Lightning rod or laser? Lightning rod. A lot more damage than the laser. And thank you, Silent Warlock Cosplay, for the 2-month resub. Okay, so new gun. Room melter. Now, admittedly, this is not going to be the Mothergunship itself. Oh, right, I'm dumb. This is just going to be the run-up to it. But you know what? We're just going to take it fast. I might just blast through the doors. Oh. That's unfortunate. Actually, it doesn't fit. Well, that's fine. I'll live with this for the time being. Barrel's pretty nuts on its own anyway. I guess actually it would be better to put the blast cap on with the gun on its own. Okay. But yeah, the thing is, like, I can go through these levels largely without any need of, I can go through these levels without really any need for, upgrades. I can just kind of blitz it. So I think that's kind of what I'm gonna do. Let's quick shop, see if I can get an attachment. Probably worth it. Okay. Should be fine. There we go. Alright, that is got a lot of kickback, actually. Oof. Alright, yeah, lightning gun shoots 4. I like the lightning gun. It's strong. It does 200 damage, ish, if all bolts hit. But that's, like, twice as much as the laser. The railgun is comparable. If you want to do pure raw damage, it might actually be better to use the railgun. It might actually be a little bit too much oomph. Got to determine that one. Who's left? You guys? I don't think I've ever had this much immediate kickback on a single shot. before. It's a weird feeling. Well, luckily this is what the laser's for. Would barrel and machine gun work better for short range, mid range damage? Kinda yeah, kinda nah. Bit of both. Okay, let's go back on here. Pushback plus 20 on the burst reactor is actually a problem. Why don't we get another too long? Yeah, okay, that's not gonna stop me. Gets me 6 shots, should do a decent amount of damage. Yeah, what's the key for? It opens the doors faster, which actually works pretty well. Destroy no enemies for 20 seconds. No can do! I've had it with your stupid, stinking challenges. And instead I've got lasers and barrels and lots of enemies to kill. I'm not interested in waiting. I could wait. But like what I should be doing is actually trying to punch through doors. Though, I think they put that timer on there to force it so you can't just speed run through these things. Like you used to be able to. Because, yeah, you used to be able to just sprint through these. I think you could just shoot every door. And it wasn't great. And so now... Now you actually have to wait for the door to open up. Still a bit heavy on the pushback with all the multi-shot and stuff. But that's fine. And yeah, I could go shopping, but my two guns that I've currently got are more than sufficient to beat this run. Only times I think I'll really have to care about shopping is on the, what is it, the shorter runs? Yeah, kind of the shorter runs. I love the barrel. It is by far the most fun weapon to fire in this game. It's just like, hey, there's an enemy in that direction. There's multiple enemies in that direction. It's dead. They're all dead. Damn efficient too for the amount of damage that you get out of it. Like, it's goofy. Nope. Gotta wait. Anything fancy up here? I guess we'll just go through this door in a second. Let me through. Let me through. I wish to pew. Pew. Wham. We got a bounce room. I like the house bounce. House of Bounce. Overkill. It's a reference to House of the Dead Overkill, which was the House of the Dead Overkill the Wii remake or repackage? It wasn't a remake. They didn't bother to remake it. They did make this like goofy kind of racist House of the Dead follow-up game, but it was awful. It was bad. That's all I remember about it. I did play through it. Because I had it on my Wii. But it was, like, nonsensically terrible. Hey, thank you for Grissa for the sub. And welcome. Okay. Y'all wanna leave me alone? I got some barreling to do. Hey, speaking of, I'm out of here. bounce, bounce, bounce. Is that the barrel gun? Yeah, it's a golden barrel gun, which is ridiculously strong. It is like, hey, enemy, dead. Enemy, what enemy? Most of the other guns, like, they kind of have their foibles. The only real problem with the barrels is their lack of immediate velocity. They're pretty slow. But it's like the super shotgun, where you don't even have to hit. The enemy just has to be in vague proximity to wherever you're shooting. And it dead. I mean, there's some notable exceptions. Like that guy. Should probably be using the lightning gun a lot more. It's actually quite good. I just kind of don't bother. Because compared to the barrel, it's, it's okay. Let's see, Wander, what is your schedule for the night? I'm not entirely sure. Any of the new games that I was actually interested in covering, that really came out this week, I've either already beaten what's available, or, they're not out for like half an hour. And so, I guess I could have just left this room like a long time ago, but that's fine. So I wanted to play this. I might do a little bit of, robot named fight. I'd like to do a robot named fight. The main problem is, like, this new update came out, and I'm like, eh. Okay, let's actually take some of these guys out. That is... I love the movement in this game. The bounce pads are ridiculous. I can be like one place in 1 second and then just somewhere completely different moments later. You don't really get that in a whole lot of other games. And like, that to me is actually really kind of important to FPSs. There's a couple of FPSs kind of like that. Not exactly in the same vein, but I really do like the movement in Destiny. Let's see, are there any Easter eggs in this? They've had a couple. It's mostly like plot Easter eggs that you already know about. Thank you, Aiden Serenity, for gifting a sub to Stop Kid. Or Stolp Kid. Alright, we could actually just bounce, can't we? Dice room? Dice room. I don't care. Where? There we go. Yeah, health is full. Not a whole lot to worry about. Now, we've got a couple of options here. One of which is really goofy. I don't like it so much. But I could just wait next to a door. And then just leave. Now, do we actually have any enemies here? I don't see a single enemy. Oh, I don't feel like waiting either. Let's see, wonder if you heard of freaking meat bags. I'm fairly certain I covered that. But I could be wrong? Maybe I haven't, I don't know. Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember in the slightest, actually. You can just pick the lock to open the door. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I keep forgetting about these things. Let's see, Wanda, did you finish Darksiders 2? No, So, Darksiders 2 and Kingdom Hearts are the two games... Oh, that's an awkward place to put a cannon. Darksiders 2 and the Kingdom Hearts series are the two, like, prequel-y games that I need to finish playing. over the next, like, couple months. You know, Darksiders 2 is a little bit more pressing, as it's, you know, a, what's this? Connector too long? I can get more of those whenever I want. Darksiders 2, you know, the, Darksiders 3 comes out in a month and a half. And so obviously, I'm going to want to pick that back up and actually start working on it this weekend? Kind of really depends on my recording schedule, but I'm getting a bit of a backlog going. Not doing multiplayer for a while has made a massive difference in my ability to actually get stuff done. I mean, obviously I don't have any multiplayer series running right now, but oh boy, that's some kickback. Alright, screw it, let's use it. I did cover freaking meat bags, and a Let's Try from 2014 is a 4-minute video. Oh, okay, I remember the title, I don't remember anything about it. That's all I know. I'll have to double check. If it's a 4-minute video, it must have meant something happened that, like, really turned me off of it. Or something? Not really sure. Okay, so how many more of these do I have to complete? I don't know. Ooh. Well, let's do this one, for obvious reasons. Let's see, where's the Goliath? Or did I lose the Goliath? I don't know if I lost the Goliath. I'm just gonna rebuy everything I've lost. I can resell most of it. I don't think I lost my Goliath crit box. Sadly, you can't get everything back from the Lost and Found. That sucks. Oh, that Goliath was actually one of my best mods. Crap. And they're very rare. Because I effectively want crit. Okay, fine. That should be good. Let's see, what's a gold Goliath crit box? No, it was actually purple. But it gives you ×4 crit, which is insanely good. And I seem to have lost it permanently. Which kind of sucks, actually, because that, like, ugh. Oh, let's not put that on the top. That's gonna get real distracting. Let's have an under bunny. Oops. Why is that even an option? There we go. There we go. This should be a good setup. Yeah, that's gonna do some damage. Let's see. I'll have to take a look at freaking meat bags, because yeah, if it was 2014, that's almost 5 years ago. Ish. I straight up, like, don't remember it. Holy crap. This does some damage. It's also kind of bright. It is very bright. That's okay, though. 'Cause I don't care. Is that a key? It was a key. Cool. Just gonna quickly grab a couple of these. We pretty much don't want any weapon mods. But a hefty boost from the start might help. A little. Do we have some secrets? We kind of do. I'm not entirely sure it's secret necessarily, but there's sometimes health pickups here. And there's sometimes secrets behind some of these. Okay. Should probably check the other side too. Nope, nothing. Alright, well, we got a dice room and a random gift. Works for me. Bounce room! Underbunny sounds really dirty. Yeah, it does. I'm not entirely sure what an underbunny is, but it definitely sounds like pornographic. Like, if you went up to a person and said, "Show me your underbunny," like, I would get slapped for that, probably. Like, they wouldn't even know what the hell I'm talking about, they'd still slap me. I don't like getting slapped. I had a friend once who thought it was okay to slap me whenever I said anything she didn't like. We didn't remain friends. I gave her quite this stern, like, don't ever do that. And she didn't seem to get it. Nor did, like, half the other girls at the table. I didn't even say anything wrong. I just said something, like, that she didn't appreciate. Like, I would understand it if I was being, like, moderately sexist. But no, I think I just disagreed with her and she slapped me. And I was just like, no, you don't do that to people. And, yeah. They were, not receptive. At which point I was like, well, screw this. I guess I'm just eating in the art room forever. Wander says, show me your underbody ever again. No, I'm not saying that seriously ever. Oh, there's the enemies. That is a ridiculously strong combo. Oh, I failed it. Well, whatever. It's money. Battle rooms, I feel like, should almost give, like, cooler things sometimes. Just to compensate for, well, just to make things more interesting? I don't know. And I love it how I failed the challenge and I'm still not using my right-hand gun. I'm dumb. Okay. Do we have a shop here? Do I care? No, I don't actually care. Part of it is, like, I don't actually want to pick up some more parts here. Let's see, maybe they do, but you always fail those ones. Nah, it consistently just gives you, 2 coins. Ooh, this is a good one. Sounds like we have a lot of enemies in the area, too. Beautiful. It's hot lasers. I guess they're blasters, but still. I'm not even really aiming at this point. I'm just kind of rotating while looking in like a 45-degree angle up. Let's see. Wander, you should have slapped her back. No. I'm a lot bigger. I'm not even that big of a dude. But I'm a lot bigger than some people. Women especially, obviously. I mean, I think she was like 5'7", 5'8". But like, I still have beefy man hands compared to, you know, other people. No one should slap anybody, period. If somebody hits you, just I mean, nowadays, especially if someone, you know, slips you, if that sounds like a weird innuendo as well. Let me give you the slip. Ugh. But yeah, if somebody slaps you, just call the cops. Like, it seems like over dramatic, but it's still assault. And honestly, anybody that slaps you is not worth your time. There's no reason I should come in here. That ain't worth my time. Let's go in this direction. Let's see, did every enemy in that room drop jumps? Yes. That's what the, That's what the, bounce room... the bounce modifier? The bounce, like, random room modifier, I don't know. It gives you, and it's kind of great, actually. Let's see. Yeah, violence is only the answer in video games, never in real life. I mean, there's a couple of situations where you actually, like, probably have to defend yourself. Like, if somebody breaks into your house and is coming after you, if you can't run, obviously you're gonna have to fight, but, like, generally escape should always be your first and only option that you're rolling with. Straight up, like, violence is... It might not be the... you know, violence is not the answer, but it's really just like violence is generally the worst possible option you can go with. There's a God, what was I was reading a article recently about a property dispute between two folks, and like they might as well have been some of my cousins, like the more distant ones, admittedly, but still. But you know, it was two neighbors, and one of them was like belligerent and coming at the other ones with the bat, and the other one, the guys that he was coming at with the bat had a shotgun, or both had shotguns, or like they had guns, and it was just like, you moron, like violence should not be your option here. And like, you know, by the sound of it, but all of them were kind of dicks to begin with, and this was not helping for obvious reasons. And, like, I've definitely solved some of my problems in life by being violent, and, like, yeah, obviously, sometimes it's a last resort you have to go for. Like, you know, I've told the... Man, I really have been bringing this up a lot lately. You know, being bullied. Where is the... Oh, it's up high. I was like, where the hell is the shield thing? But, you know, I was bullied in high school by a guy, and I drop-kicked him into a locker. And he left me right alone after that, which is good. But it could have gone way worse, you know. He was on the football team, he was way more popular than I was. Like, I could have gotten in some deep shit. And I didn't, I'm really lucky for that. But, like, for some people, can't do a damn thing. There's a lot of people that get, like, utterly screwed by the whole, like, zero tolerance policies and whatnot. You know, I had a friend who... No. Honestly, the kid was a dick. I hated him a lot. I played RuneScape with him. He was the person that, like, taught me how to play RuneScape by effectively using me for cheap labor. So, like, I guess he was a friend at first until I realized that he was a bit of a sociopath. At which point I hacked his account, made his character female, and... you know, got him on a watch list for, you know, account abuse or language abuse or something like that. At which point he gave it to somebody else who happened to, like, mirror his personality. The guy that he gave his account to ended up actually being, like, a much better person in the end, but he would still, like, had the same personality for a while. But, wow. Double reward rooms in a row, that's nuts. But so he was always picked on by another guy, or maybe he instigated, I'm not entirely sure. But after a while, the guy that he would always get into fights with would actually just instigate the fight from the get-go. Where's the enemies? But, you know, after a while, the one guy would just instigate every fight, and it didn't go well for the for the, you know, RuneScape guy, pseudo-friend. I don't know what I want to call him. But, you know, effectively everything went poorly for him. Also, this is times for rewards, including tokens now, which is nuts. I don't think it always gave times for tokens, but maybe it's just this room. But, I am loaded on stuff now. It's kind of great. But yeah, so the kid would get the shit kicked out of him, and he would get suspension as well for being the victim of the situation. I always feel like that's kind of wrong. Like, you know, no, all fighting is bad, even if you didn't start the fight or even do anything. What was it? I know I've definitely read articles where it's like, you know, student hospitalized and expelled. And it's like, what? Why? No, that's stupid. Sex change to get him on a watch list sounds like a horrible thing to do in any context. Yeah, it was RuneScape. In retrospect, I realized that, like, yeah, not exactly cool to do. But for middle schoolers, he was quite upset about it because he didn't have the funds after the fact to switch back. Or, you know, there was some kind of limitation or whatever. He was not pleased. But considering he stole, like, hours of my time and more or less convinced me that he was giving me, like, fair pay, I don't know, I didn't really feel like I was giving him, I was being that horrible to him. But yeah, if I were to do that now to anybody, I probably wouldn't do what I did. But that's okay. But yeah, you're teaching your kids Aikido so they can defend themselves if necessary. That's a good idea. Grappling and throws and stuff seem like they'd be better. I went to karate, but karate always felt like really silly. Practical self-defense, I think, would actually should be something that's taught to many people. Most people. Oh, that laser guy turned out fast. It's mad easy. Okay, so we're at the halfway point. So one more round of these and we can just roll them. That was a really good combo. Let's try rapid blasters this time. Don't want that one. There's got to be a better connector than this. Not overwhelmingly. I should have another barrel in the other hand. It's always tempting to... Well, you know, I haven't used a grenade launcher much at all, so let's go with this. The only problem with practical self-defense is that if you go to a city, those sorts of classes consist of essentially do anything and everything to make sure your pursuer not pursue you. Include stabbing them to death with their own knife. Yeah, and, you know, to some degree, I realize that that's like a little on the grim side, but to some degree, I think that is practical self-defense. My mother actually would talk about this. She lived in, was it Rochester, Minnesota for a while? Back, I think, before the city was better. I think it's always been a relatively safe place. But it wasn't as good as it currently is. These things, grenade launcher naturally has fire mine. That's worrying. Okay, that's ridiculously strong. Let's see. Not actually sure what hit me there. Holy crap, the rapid blasters are nuts. I might have actually just touched lava? Hard to say. Okay, but yeah, so she took a self-defense class when she was in the city. And one of the first lessons they did was how to poke somebody in the eye as hard as possible. Both eyes. That was like lesson number 1. And when I took a self-defense class in college, it was a martial arts class taught by a bouncer. So most of his self-defense stuff was straight up just like how to protect yourself, not actually like, you know, this is the 5th kata or anything goofy like that. He taught that stuff, but he was mainly focused around like, if somebody's coming at you with the intent of kicking your ass or hurting you badly, you know, what do? And so his first lesson was kick him in the balls. Even if it's a lady, kick him in the groin, that'll take him out. Most men and women straight up like don't can't deal with that sort of like pain, and you're not worth it. And so for the final test, we were supposed to defend ourselves, and I kicked him in the balls. He was like, "No, come at me," and like most of you aren't even going to be able to hit me, so you know it'll be fine. And I kicked him in the nuts, and I felt real bad about it. I felt a little proud too, considering I was like one of his goof-off students, and I don't think he liked me that much. But well, anyway, but yeah. So my mother would talk about this, and it was like how to blind somebody with pepper spray, poke him in the eyes, kick him in the nuts. You know, a bunch of like real basic, like, no-brainer things, but how to do it. And, like, I realize that's, like, a little grim, but at the same time, like, it's practical. And most people probably aren't going to be running around poking other people in the eyes. Hopefully. Got a lot of EXP. Okay. Holy crap, these rapid blasters do damage too. I think rapid blasters might actually be... So, I gotta compare the blaster weapons in this game, but they might actually be the best guns. Because the problem is the chain gun's just kind of inefficient. You're missing a lot. Blasters? Not so much so. I don't know. Okay. Rocket, jelly container, energy orb, health. I don't need a single one of these. But, you know, the guy, the instructor, self-defense, martial arts, whatever, he was black belt, had, you know, formal training in, like, judo and karate and kung fu and, like, a bunch of different things. He was a real martial arts addict. I don't really know what word I'd want to use, but, you know, the guy loved martial arts. And he's, like, 9 times out of 10, I just get him with a throat punch or a shot to the nards. Okay, that was a lot of enemies that I did not spot. And, you know, he was saying to the extent of, like, 90% of what he does from a bouncing standpoint is just quick incapacitation, no fancy, flashy moves, anything like that. Just, like, hit him where it hurts, take him down. I don't know why I'm talking about this while playing Gunship, but I guess we're here. I feel bad if the Gunship team is just watching. It's like, what is Wander talking about? Why? Let's see. Did I pass the test by kicking him in the nards? Oh, yeah. No, I was the first one out the door. I was like one of the first people he tested, and then apparently the test got a lot easier after I kicked him in the nuts. Because he was definitely not near... he was not nearly as spirited in his attacks. Because my roommate went immediately after me and he said it was a joke, which was funny. But I mean, like, I've been kicked in the nuts before. Some kid thought it would be a great idea to assert his dominance over me by kicking me randomly in the nuts, which succeeded. He definitely got his way after that, and detention. We both got detention, actually. That's one of those like zero tolerance thing. I got like kicked in the nuts hard, and they're like, well, there's 2 sides to every story, so you get detention too. And that was my last day of school, and I'm like, I'm gonna remember all of you as awful administrators. And then they stuck me with my like 3rd grade teacher, who was just a mediocre woman as well. I don't remember my schooling in California that fondly. I had some good teachers, and I had some awful teachers who kicked Wander in the nuts. One of my classmates in 6th grade. Effectively, we were playing handball, and he cut me in the line, and I'm like, hey, dude, you know, don't do that. And he kicks me in the shins, and I'm like, you know, what the hell, and kicked him back. And then he goes for the nuts immediately after that, and of course, that was, I think, the first time I'd ever actually, like, seriously been hit in the balls. Which, like, if you've somehow managed to avoid that as a dude, you know, good on you, because it sucks real bad. Especially when a kid's wearing steel-toed boots, which was apparently the, that was apparently the style at the time. Like, everyone had steel-toed boots. I had steel-toed boots. If I kicked that kid in the nuts, it probably would have hurt him pretty bad, too. But, so we had to write written statements to the principal talking about what happened. So, of course, I'm just like, yeah, he cut me in line. I told him not to. He kicked me in the shins. I kicked him back because, like, I mean, I was a kid. And then, I got to read what he had wrote. And he wrote it like some kind of DBZ battle. And it was just like, what? No! I got kicked in the nuts! This is not some, like, epic battle between two children. This is just some, dillweed deciding, that the best way to get his way was just kicking me in the nuts. I don't know. Shoe was thrown at you, hit you there. Didn't hurt too bad, honestly. Well, that's like that's a little lighter than somebody with steel-toed boots being like, the full, full force kick to the nards. Ow. I mean, it probably hurts way more as an adult, or if you get hit worse. But I'm not gonna go around measuring, you know, what is more dangerous, to your nut health. Getting hit by a shoe, kicked by a, you know, 6th grader, kicked by a full adult as an adult. That would be a limited set of data, and I think it would go real freaking weird. I bet there's actually somebody that studied that, like, pain indicators on getting nut shot. I don't know. Okay, please let me through this door. I don't have the AoE to deal with this. I like the grenade launcher, but it's hard to aim. I'd rather have the barrel. Woo, boy.
Work. Oh, wait. You won.
Okay, what is this? Rolling lava, energy fireworks, fist barrel. I'm not a big fan of this one. Well, we already have an energy fireworks, so we could go double energy fireworks. And a barrel. And just to connect our 3-line. The jelly container would be interesting, but hard to roll with. Got shot in the nuts by a paintball gun. Ooh, okay, that one probably hurts a lot more than a boot. Maybe? Because a boot kind of spreads it out. I got shot in the butthole by a paintball gun from point blank range. That was not pleasant. We were on a... We were, I think, we just went into the Boy Scouts. It was like one of the first weekends that we had joined the troop. And they're like, yeah, we're going paintballing. And I'm like, sure, why not? You know, I'm a 6th grader. How bad can it be? You know, it's going to be kind of tough, but I'm an avid laser tag player, and I can aim fairly well. And you know what? I'm actually not a half bad. I'm not a half bad shot in paintball, but I refuse to do it at this point. Largely because this place was awful. So it was a bunch of military guys that I'm gonna say they had problems. Because one of them thought it would be real funny to sneak up on a pair of 5th or 6th graders, effectively ram his gun into my the seat of my sweatpants, and unload who knows how many paintballs right into effectively my poorly defended anus. I couldn't sit down after that. It was awful. I could barely walk, and this was the first round. And he thought it was the funniest thing ever, and it hurt like hell. And then a couple rounds later, you know, I've had to sit down, I've relaxed, you know, I can kind of walk. I decide, you know, yeah, I can do another round, this won't be so bad, you know, we're here. It took multiple hours to get to this point. I might as well, like, try again, even if, like, I'm hurting pretty bad. And And so the thing about paintball is, like, you don't, like, go down. You have to, like, if you get shot, you pretty much have to walk off the sidelines. Well, I was the last person, apparently, and I was doing a fairly good job of, like, hiding myself. I'd, like, buried myself in some dirt, and I unloaded on a guy. And his friend took me out. And apparently the guy was pretty pissed that I took him out, because effectively, you know, I'm this, like, small little 5th, 6th grader. And, so I was literally buried in it wasn't dirt, it was like wood chips or something. And, so I popped out and effectively, sniped a guy from relatively close range or something like that. And he was quite livid about this, and as I'm walking off to the sidelines, he unloads his whole clip into me from, you know, a couple feet away. And after that, I've always had kind of trouble being in any kind of situation where it's like, yeah, these are, you know, people that are way better at a thing than you. And they're going to be playing with you. And I'm like, nope. Nope. I don't want to deal with man babies that can't handle being shot in paintball by a 6th grader and stuff like that. We ended up covered in bugs. I didn't care. I was a 6th grader. When you were a kid, did you care too much about how many bugs you were covered in? I did, actually, but this was in California. There were bugs, but it was, like, mostly ants. You didn't really end up with, like, a whole lot of the really creepy crawlies. At least not in the area I was in. Did both of those guys get banned for life? Nope, no one did a goddamn thing. Because, again, it was a military base that they just let other people join. And so no one lifted a finger, no one bothered to call cops. Should've. Sounds like the guy should have been arrested. Probably, yeah. And, like, I'm still a little mad about that one. Man, I thought I was running out of, like, weird stories about injustice in my life. I still got them. I have shit luck with people. I think that's kind of it. I know there's plenty of, like, good people out there, but I just have, like, the worst luck. You know, from the principal that creeps on middle school girls, to the vice principal that doesn't give a shit about anybody, and thinks everybody's breaking the rules even when you're trying to be a good guy. To the 2nd grade teacher that gave me detention for doing extra math problems. To the... It's a lot. I've had a lot of problems with authority. And, like, I was not a great kid. I definitely had, like... I definitely was a little bit pokier than I should have been sometimes. But, like, this shit stacks up. Eventually you're just like, man, maybe adults are just kind of messed up. And the answer is, yeah, they're actually pretty messed up. You know, it's interesting going to college and going, so I took a ethics concentration, which is actually really cool. Ethics is a really fun thing to study because you learn a lot of, like, weird stuff about people and people's behaviors. Like, we spent a whole week on diffusion and responsibility, which is grim as shit. Diffusion and responsibility is awful. But, so, apparently, if you're going into pre-med at the college I went into, you had to take ethics. It was, like, a non-optional thing. Probably because, you know, it's a career where you have to do a bunch of compassion and stuff like that. Do we have another enemy here? I probably just have to go down. Yeah. But, you know, it was interesting... It was interesting being in this ethics class, because apparently the pre-med people had been kind of in a bit of a dispute. This is kind of a common thing, honestly, if you've ever done pre-med. But, you know, a lot of people go into doctoring to make a ton of money. And, you know, that's not too far off the mark. You know, you can make a stupid amount of money being a doctor, or a lawyer, or, you know, a bunch of things. And at this point, you know, it's probably better to go into science and technology and stuff, because your hours are slightly less shit. But, so, apparently there had been some kind of blowout amongst the pre-med students. Because, yeah, effectively, there was this big... gnats. Oh god, there's a lot of gnats. At least the gnats drop, like, more health now. It feels like they drop a lot more. But yeah, there was kind of this, like, blowout amongst the pre-med students, because a number of them had admitted that, yeah, they're straight up only in med to make money. And that had actually, like, really pissed off some of the other med students. And, like, there was, like, this weird division. And so, of course, I'm in a ethics class with 90% of the kids there were pre-med. And so, like, you could tell some of them, like, came into that class with a bone to pick, and it was, like, half of what we talked about. And the teacher, of course, was, I'm gonna say, like, shockingly neutral. You know, he was, like, I've never seen, like, a more neutral perspective from a person. Largely because he was, he specialized in medicinal ethics, or ethics in medicine, or whatever you want to call it. And so, like, he had been around doctors for ages, and so he was probably used to every perspective. But they got mad at each other for a lot of these things, and it was interesting seeing, you know, effectively the future of healthcare ripping each other apart for whether or not it's okay to go into passion versus passion for helping people versus passion for making a stable living. Violently neutral. Aggressively neutral, I guess, would be the better word, but, like, you know, people were obviously, like, trying to get his, like, tacit approval, and he just was not having any of it. He just kind of smiled placidly and then asked what everybody else thought, and he would never say anything. He did talk about, like, HIPAA and certain things that are, like, actually not okay. Like, you never, ever, ever, if you're a medical professional, never, ever, ever share details about, you know, somebody's medical conditions without clearing it with them first, and even then, like, let the person share it themselves. There's a lot. HIPAA is a weird mess. If you don't know what HIPAA is, it's effectively, like, a pretty beefy amount of, like, it's like a beefy amount of laws and rules and regulations on what you can share with people in terms of, like, the treatment of others. So, for example, if I were a doctor and you asked me, hey, does person A have cancer? I couldn't even confirm that I've met person A to some degree. Today, the pharmacist yelled out my mother's medicine and refused to give it to her at Walgreens today. That is... I'm actually fairly certain that's illegal. Like, there's only so much you can do to some degree. There's only so much you can do to, like, hide, you know, if somebody wants to, like, peek over a corner, or not over a corner, but, you know, try and peek. There's maybe not so much that you can do about it. That's a lot of bullets. But yelling a medicine out loud, like, you know, Wanderbot, your Viagra is ready. I'm just gonna go with that. Might as well just not... I don't actually have a prescription for Viagra. I don't even know if you need a prescription for Viagra. But, you know, if I went to a pharmacy and someone yelled that out, I could definitely, like, get them potentially permanently fired from any pharmaceutical job, period. We spent... So, I worked at a hospital for... a summer when I was in college as a medical illustrator. I was in charge of making 2D images of brains into 3D models. None of this has anything to do with patients. They were monkeys. Like, straight up, it was 3D models of monkey brains. I've taken a lot of damage here. This is risky. I'm just gonna leave. You can sue them. You can sue them to some degree, but it's one of those where you actually are really just supposed to report them to... you're supposed to report them to... there's, like, multiple regulatory bodies for HIPAA, and they are very aggressive. But... I'm gonna die in here. These guys got way more aggressive. I might not actually live through this one. I might be okay. Problem is, barrels are not what I would call... Got some health. Okay, I can withstand another shot. Yeah, barrels and firework launches are not exactly the most, single target-y damage. Oh, my heart is beating. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so I was not in charge of anybody's personal information. I was not allowed to be in charge of anybody's personal information. I was not allowed to talk to most people at the hospital if they asked me anything about the hospital. And, you know, I was effectively required to take off my lanyard if I was in any, like, kind of public spot that a person could be confused. Could confuse me for an actual hospital employee. It was very stringent. Those were my basic rules. I learned that in about, like, an hour. We then proceeded to spend the rest of the week learning about how HIPAA works and how we should never violate it. And I'm sitting there as a medical illustrator just drawing pictures because it's, like, totally useless to me. And I was tested on it, and if I failed, I actually wouldn't have been allowed to work there. And it boggles my mind when I hear about people breaking HIPAA. And it's just like, how did you not learn anything from this? They shove it down your throat real hard.
Excellent work thus far. Remember, don't perish, or we'll have to find a new Mothergunship to do this with.